Hi everybody, my name is Monica and I am going to be answering the 3 questions from our Module 1 discussion. So the first question that I chose to answer is number 2, which is communication is described in the chapter as crucial to success in relationships, work, and personal growth. Can you take a moment to reflect on how your communication skills have impacted your success in different areas of life? What does the chapter say about the link between communication and success, and how do you see that reflected in your own experience? So the communication and kind of success, this was listed on page 1, so it was right up front in the chapter. And I kind of wanted to talk about how communication can really impact, work relationships if you have a higher up, a supervisor or a boss who you need to be reporting to, and you can't get things across to them really clearly and so that they know what you need, then that can impact you as a worker, and maybe you're not going to get what you need from that superior, and they can get frustrated or irritated if it's kind of a repetitive thing. You're constantly not being able to get your point across, or you think you got your point across and they're just not understanding what you mean, and they're feeling like, I'm not sure if this person is equipped for what we're wanting from this position. And so success, let me talk about success on this one. So success with communication, the better you are at communicating, the more success you're going to have, especially in the professional field. I have a lot of experience with this, and I'm someone who's taken a lot of communication courses. I'm constantly seeking things out on how to improve communications. I've had jobs specifically at the YMCA where they require you to go to different communication classes and how to talk to people and how to be a great active listener and not skip over the important details. And let's see, the next question that I will talk about is going to be the active listening. So question number 4. Active listening is highlighted as an essential part of effective communication. In your own words, what is active listening and why is it so important in a business setting? So active listening is something that I've been practicing. I think you're constantly evolving your ability to active listen, and I have ADHD, so that can be something that's really hard for me, because as soon as someone says something and I'm like, oh, I can relate to that, let me come right back with something to say so that we can relate on that topic. So learning to actively listen to what someone's trying to tell me and not go into my own head and relate to that or pull from myself to have a response ready to go is something that I'm constantly practicing. And so being able to hold on to your own thoughts and set those aside for a minute and just really absorb what somebody is telling you. And one way that I've really been able to do that and succeed there is I like to reflect with people. They'll tell me something and I'm like, okay, what I heard was, and ask kind of, is this what you meant to tell me? Am I understanding correctly what you're trying to get across? And just asking for that little bit of clarification goes a really long way. And so that active listening part, you pick up a lot more pieces than if you were just, okay, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to respond with this. You're missing that huge chunk of what people are saying while you're in your own head. And so I've kind of come to learn, it can actually be kind of selfish to not active listen, and you're just constantly thinking, oh, me, I want to do this, I want to respond in this way, but then you're not understanding what that person's, you're not giving them the space to be able to respond to you and give you what they're really trying to say. And that was active listening was on page 4 of the first chapter that we read this week. And And an example of that, kind of shared that listening to new clients or existing clients that I work with in personal training one-on-one, a lot of times people come to me with previous injuries, health conditions, things that I really need to be aware of, that I cannot just gloss over because that could hurt them. It could physically change how we work together and goals, and listening to each other and being able to make their goals realistic. And then the last one that I chose was number 7, and this one was understanding different communication contexts. So interpersonal, group communication, public communication, intrapersonal communication versus interpersonal communication, or mass communication. There's so many different types of communication, and understanding when to use the right one is so important. And I think that really plays into how we can get success out of communication as well. And then a good example for this is, without sharing any information, I work with a client who is dealing with dementia. And how I work with that client is extremely different from how I work with my 20-year-old athletes, right? I have to be a lot more intentional with what I say. I need to be more direct. I need to show throughout. A lot of times I'll be doing the exercise right along with them so that they can have a visual and verbally cueing them on what to do, how to move their body. I will even have, with permission, of course, putting their hands in the right spot. If they get on a machine and they can't figure out how to position their body, I'll help them with that. And that's very different from working with somebody who has been in athletics their entire life, and they're a star basketball player or soccer player, and they have just this great level of athleticism where they've had experience with these exercises. They're doing advanced things that somebody who has cognitive delay or memory trouble is not going to be able to follow. So making sure that I adapt my communication to fit the person in front of me is a huge part of my job, and something that I've continued to develop as I have more and more experience with different demographics and different situations. And it's something that I really like to ensure that I can do a good job of, because I'm a true believer that everyone deserves to feel comfortable and secure in where they're at, no matter the situation. And so my ability can help make that person feel a little bit better and more comfortable while they're spending time with me and we're working together. And then, let's see, those were my 3 questions that I chose. And it looks like that's all we needed to do was the 3. I responded with my resume as well, and that answer to the first question of the list there in text format is what it looks like he was wanting from us. So thank you for listening to my video response, and I look forward to listening to all of your guys' responses. Thank you. Goodbye.